Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 19, The Killing of the Demon Hiryanaksa. So we are in the section where there is a fight between Varahadev and Hiryanaksa is going on. And now we come to text 23. Tadadite samavat vatsa sahasar dive putah smarantya varturadesham stanyachasrika prasutsruve. Translation.
At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breasts. Purport. At Hiranyaksha's last moment, his mother, Diti, remembered what her husband had said. Although her sons would be demons, they would have the advantage of being killed by the personality of Godhead himself. She remembered this incident by the grace of the Lord, and her breast flowed blood instead of milk. In many instances, we find that when a mother is moved by affection for her sons, milk flows from her breasts. In the case of the demon's mother, the blood could not transform into milk, but it flowed down her breast as it was. Blood transforms into milk. To drink milk is auspicious, but to drink blood is inauspicious, although they are one and the same thing. This formula is applicable in the case of cow's milk also. Hare Krishna.
So this was the time, at that very moment, shudder ran through the heart of Diti. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breasts. So this is what is called as the Shakuna Shastra. Shakuna Shastra means there are Shakunas, the Upshakun and Shakun and Upshakun, that there are certain signs that the universe, the nature that gives through, and at times it has become very rudimentary, or it has become, but the Shakuna Shastra is valid. And in fact, one of the 18 Upadesh of Ramanujacharya about Ramayana is this Shakuna Shastra. So when Ramanujacharya was learning Ramayana from Shailapurna, so one of the Upadesh, because Ramayana, this will come time and again. When Khara and Dushan, they are approaching the war to fight, how there were so many Upshakuns were happening. So now here we can see that Shakuna Shastra. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that Hiranyaksha's last moment, Diti remembered the words of her husband Kashyapa, that how he will be, Hiranyaksha will be, this incident would happen, and her breast flowed the blood instead of milk. Srila Prabhupada says that in many instances we have seen that mother, when she is moved by the affection for her children, the milk flows from her breast. Okay. And this we can see even Devaki and Yashoda. So, way they were in an advanced stage, but at the thought of Krishna and Balaram, this would happen to them time to time. Okay. So Prabhupada says actually, mother's blood gets transformed into milk. But in this case of Diti, that did not happen, and the blood directly flowed through the breast. And same is true for the cow's milk. So Prabhupada says here, instead of the Western civilization of eating beef and cutting the cow, the same blood of cow is available as the affection of the cow in the form of her milk. So instead of beef, Prabhupada says that this Western civilization should move towards the cow's milk, which is none different than, in a way, blood. So, text 24. Vinashtasu swamayasu bhuyascha vrajrakeshavah ruru rushopaguhamanom trudesha avasthitam bahihi. Translation.
Translation: When the demon saw his magic force dispelled, he once again came into the presence of the personality of Godhead, Keshava, and, full of rage, tried to embrace him within his arms to crush him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms. Purport: In this verse, the Lord is addressed as Keshava because he killed the demon Keshi in the beginning of creation. Keshava is also a name of Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all incarnations, and it is confirmed in Brahma Samhita that Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the causes of all causes, exists simultaneously in his different incarnations and expansions. The demon's attempt to measure the Supreme Personality of Godhead is significant. The demon wanted to embrace him with his arms, thinking that with his limited arms he could capture the Absolute by material power. He did not know that God is the greatest of the great and the smallest of the small. No one can capture the Supreme Lord or bring him under his control. But the demonic person always attempts to measure the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. By his inconceivable potency, the Lord can become the universal form, as explained in Bhagavad Gita, and at the same time, he can remain within the box of his devotees as their worshipable deity. There are many devotees who keep a statue of the Lord in a small box and carry it with them everywhere. Every morning they worship the Lord in the box. The Supreme Lord Keshava, or the personality of Godhead Krishna, is not bound by any measurement of our calculation. He can remain with his devotee in any suitable form, yet he is unapproachable by any amount of demonic activities. Hare Krishna.
Now the demon, he ran. He was seeing all his illusion created by him was completely faded away. Jahan Krishna tahan nahi, mayer adhikar. And he became now very full of rage and tried to embrace the Lord. So he wanted to crush the Lord with his mighty arms. But he tried, and to his great amazement, he found that the Lord was standing outside the circle of his arms. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the very specific address to the Supreme Lord here is Keshava. Keshava is the Lord, one who killed the Keshi demon. And Keshava is also the name of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Now, Krishna is the origin of all the incarnation. Ete cham sakalapumsa, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And therefore, every name of every other incarnation is directly applicable to Krishna. Because ultimately, he is Krishna, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Now, here, demon wanted to crush the Lord with his mighty arms. And he thought that he will capture the Lord like this. But to his great amazement, he thought he is capturing, but the Lord was outside of his grip. No one can capture the Supreme Lord or bring him under his control. Same pastimes we see in 10th Canto, Kalayavana. He wanted to catch the Lord and he was running, chasing the Lord. The Lord was just 1 feet ahead of him. Okay, always, right? We see Duryodhan, he was trying to capture the Lord when the Lord appeared as Shantidut. But then he was himself, Duryodhan was fooled in that instance. So this is how one cannot forcefully capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One will end up only with the matter when he wants to capture the spirit. The classic example of this is modern science, when there is a very famous quote by Nobel laureate who ended up discovering all this DNA and other amino acids, and he said, the pursuit of my research was to find out the origin of life, and I gave my entire life to find out what is the life, And end of the day, I am just left alone with some molecules in my hand, which are just lifeless. In the due course of time, I did not realize life just slipped out of my hands, and I'm just playing with some molecules, thinking that these molecules gave the life. So one cannot capture the spirit with matter. Prabhupada says, but a devotee of the Lord can capture the Lord. The devotee of the Lord can put the Lord in a small box and carry them everywhere, and they will worship the Lord. And this is how the Ajita can be conquered by devotees of the Lord. One of the classic example of this is His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Wherever he used to go, he used to carry the deities, the beautiful deities, the set of the deities, and every day he used to be engaged in the very elaborate deity worshipping his beautiful deities. So Prabhupada says the Lord may remain outside the grip of the demon, but he agrees to come in the small box of the devotee. This is the Supreme Lord. Text 25. Tam mushtivir vinirgnantam vrajasarai rasok adokshajah karena karna mulena yathastvastram marutpatihi. Translation.
The demon now began to strike the Lord with his hard fist. But Lord Adhokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear, even as Indra, the lord of the Maruts, hit the demon Vratra. Purport. The Lord is explained here as Adhokshaja, beyond the reach of all material calculation. Akshaja means the measurement of our senses, and Adhokshaja means that which is beyond the measurement of our senses.
So, the previous word, the Lord is Keshava. In this word, the Lord is Adhokshaja. The demon now began to strike the Lord. The Lord slapped him, Lord Adhokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear. So, in Shuddha Marathi, Kanfadat Vadal, like that. So, he struck him in the root of the ear, and just like the king of the Marutpati, the lord of the Maruta, Indra, hit the demon Vritra. So, Vritrasura will be always remembered in pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the Lord is known as Adhokshaja, beyond the reach of the material calculations. One cannot calculate the Lord. Two very famous names of the Lord, Adhokshaja and Aprameya. Aprameya, Prameya means mathematics. The Lord cannot be captured by Prameya, mathematics. Therefore, he is known as Aprameya. The Lord cannot be measured by one's senses. How big is the Lord? Nobody can measure. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham, right? He's beyond the measurement of the senses, and therefore he is Adhokshaja. Because he was now doing one-to-one duel, Hiryanaksa, the Lord also slapped him at the root of the ears. And text 26. Now, before the slap of the Lord, there is indication in the life of Diti. So text 26. Sa ahato vishvajita hi avajñaya परिभ्रमद्रात्र उदस्तलोचनः विशार्णबाहुङ्घ्रि शिरोरुहे पतत् यथा नगेन्द्रो लुलितो नभस्वता. Translation.
Though struck indifferently by the Lord, the conqueror of all, demon's body began to wheel. His eyeballs bulged out of their sockets, his arms and legs broken, and the hair on his head scattered. He fell down dead like a gigantic tree uprooted by the wind. Purport. It does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiryanaksa. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats. One may know that by magical feats, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the demon, despite all his demoniac maneuvers, was killed by the Lord when the Lord desired, simply by one slap.
So with one tight slap, thus struck by the Lord, the demon's body began to shake. Eyeballs bulged out of his sockets. The arms and legs were broken, and the heads on the hair scattered, and he fell down dead, like the gigantic tree uprooted by the wind. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that it does not take the Lord to do something. The demon may be very powerful, the demon may be very boasting, but for Lord to undo such a demon does not take long. But still, Lord allowed to play the entire display to happen because the demon wanted to show the full prowess. But with one slap, the demon was dead. And this we can see, the very classic example of this in modern times is Titanic. Titanic was built and it was considered as the epitome of engineering classic. And this Titanic was built in such a way, and the advertisement of a Titanic was that even God cannot sink this boat. And they were so confident of the design that they felt that, to carry lifeboats, lifeguards, the life-saving guards or some jackets would be like a disgrace to our design. Right. And therefore, they did not have even enough those things which are generally available for any other boat. And in the first voyage, the Titanic was destroyed. So just one slap of the Lord, an entire modern civilization can come crumbling down. And therefore, Prabhupada says, his one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. This is the inconceivable power. Such a gigantic demon challenging everyone, Varuna, this, that, and swimming for years in the waters of Vibhavari. And one slap, one tight slap by the Lord, and the demon is dead. And therefore, Prabhupada says the modern civilization, they should be always aware of this. And time to time, there are signals like that. Now we come to the second section of this chapter. Text 27 to 32. Lord Brahma and others, they are going to praise. Text 27. Kshitam shayanam tam Vaikuṇṭha varchasam karaladramstam paridashtadachadam ajadayo viksha sasham suragata aho imam ko nulabheta samsthitam. Translation.
Aja,
Aja,
Brahma, and others arrived on the spot to see the fearfully taxed demon lying on the ground, biting his lip. The glow of his face was yet unfaded, and Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such blessed death?" But although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. This is very peculiar because when a man or animal is dead, the body immediately becomes pale and the luster gradually fades and decomposition takes place. But here, although Hiranyaksha lay dead, his bodily luster was unfaded because the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, was touching his body. One's bodily luster remains fresh only as long as the spirit soul is present. Although the demon's soul had departed his body, the Supreme Spirit touched the body, and therefore his bodily luster did not fade. The individual soul is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he quits his body is certainly very fortunate, and therefore personalities like Brahma and other demigods eulogized the death of the demon. Hare Krishna.
Now, Brahma and other demigods, they appeared on the scene and they could see the fearfully stuck the demon's body lying on the ground and he was biting his lip. So that anger was still there, but somehow the body appeared very, very fresh and the luster did not. The glow on the face was unfaded. His lips were curled, biting, but there was a glow on the face. And Brahma, he admiringly said, "Oh, who could have attained such a blessed death? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that although demon was dead, his luster was unfaded. As soon as the soul leaves the body, everything stops functioning within the body and the body will decompose. Right. But in this case, the luster will fade away. But in this case, the demigods, they saw the luster was intact. The bodily glow was there on the body, although the demon was dead. And this was there because the body was touched by the Supreme Spirit at the time of his death. He was slapped by the Lord, and by the Lord's touch, he was completely revived. So, although the demon's soul has departed from the body, but because the Supreme Lord has touched the bodily luster did not fade away. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, we read this: Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tameveti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. So, tyajati ante kalevaram, when he was giving up his body, he was seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although the mood was different, the similar thing that we see in case of the same thing we see in Putana Vadh. That Putana, very, very ghastly death she attained. But when her body was performed with Antya there was a smell of aguru and in the camphor because the body was completely purified by the touch of the Supreme Lord. 2 points here, and therefore one should always go to the temple. Why? Because the temple where the Lord is worshipped, one will feel spiritual revival when one visits the temple, goes to temple, chants in the temple. And of course, every temple is very, very genuine, but especially Hare Krishna temples, where the Mangalarti begins, the Bhoga of the Lord begins way 4 o'clock in the morning, and hundreds of devotees are engaged in serving the Lord. There is a great reciprocal strength in visiting the temple. That is one thing. And second is, the Lord is not different than his holy name. And when we chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, what happens is, we are in the supreme touch. The Supreme Lord is touching our body. Srila Prabhupada used to say, the Lord is dancing on your tongue. And therefore one can see there is a very special glow on the face of the devotees who are practicing spiritual life. This is the spiritual glow coming because of the touch of the Supreme Lord in the form of his, Madhurya Leela Guna Rupa Namna, right? In the form of the name of the Lord, Guna of the Lord, Leela of the Lord, remembrance of the Supreme Lord. And this is very important. So some of you may or may not be aware, we have revived our Braj that we used to have some time back. Braj stands for Brahma Muhurta, Reverential Absorbed Japa, BRAJ. And there are many devotees who are participating in this Braj every day in the morning, chanting. So the Braj link will be also there on this app link only. Text 28. Yam yogino yoga samadhinaraho dhyayanti lingada sato mumukshaya Tyasyaish daitya rishavat pradarto mukham prapashyam tanum usruja. Translation.
Brahma continued. He was struck by a forefeet of the Lord, whom yogis seeking freedom from their unreal material bodies meditate upon in seclusion in mystic trance. While gazing on his countenance, this crest jewel of Diti's son has cast off his mortal coil. Purport. The process of yoga is very clearly described in this verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It is said that the ultimate end of the yogis and mystics who perform meditation is to get rid of this material body. Therefore, they meditate in secluded places to attain yogic trance. Yoga has to be performed in a secluded place, not in a public or in a demonstration on a stage, as nowadays practiced by many so-called yogis. Real yoga aims at reading real yoga aims at reading one of the one of the material body. Yoga practice is not intended to keep the body fit and young. Such advertisements of so-called yoga are not approved by any standard method. Particularly mentioned in this verse is the word yam or unto whom, indicating that meditation should be targeted on the personality of Godhead. Even if one concentrates his mind on the Boar form of the Lord, that is also yoga. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, one who concentrates his mind constantly in meditation upon the personality of Godhead in one of his many varieties of forms is a first class yogi, and he can very easily attain trance simply by meditating upon the form of the Lord. If one is able to continue such meditation on the Lord's form at the time of one's death, one is liberated from his mortal body and is transferred to the kingdom of God. This opportunity was given to the demon by the Lord, and therefore Brahma and other demigods were astonished. In other words, the perfection of yoga practice can be attained by a demon also if he is simply kicked by the Lord.
The demigods, they continued their prayers, Brahmaji. He was struck with the forefoot by the Lord, and that feet of the Lord, the lotus feet of the Lord, they are being meditated by the yogis for thousands and thousands of years. Panthastu koti shata vatsara sampragamyo vayo rathapi manaso munipungavana. And by thousands of years of meditation, koti shata vatsara, they may reach to the effulgence of the toe, and that entire feet was hitting Hiranyaksha. Look at the fortune of Hiranyaksha. So they are glorifying the glory. They are basically praising the Hiranyaksha and death of Hiranyaksha and how fortunate he was. Right. So what the yogis cannot achieve, sitting in trance in a secluded place for thousands of years, Hiranyaksha achieved this by the grace of the Supreme Lord. And while gazing on his countenance, this crest jewel of the Diti suddenly has become the crest jewel. Why? Because he has become Śrī Hiryanakṣa because of the touch of the Supreme Lord. So while casting off his mortal body, he was gazing at the form of the personality of Godhead. Like when we are going to give up our body, we feel that at least we should have the frame of the Lord, okay, some picture of the Lord, name of the Lord, and of course, picture of the Lord and Lord, they are non-different. But here Hiranyaksha had direct personality of Godhead interacting with him when he was giving up his Kalevaram. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the process of yoga is very clearly described here. What is the yoga? The ultimate end of the yogis is that they should, when they are getting rid of the material body, they should be meditating on the Supreme Personality. And this is very vividly described in Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga, how they should go, Sthita, Shucha Udeshe, Pratisthapya. They should establish oneself in a secluded place. Prabhupada says yoga is not a thing to be performed in a public and to be demonstrated on a stage. Okay. The real yoga the real yoga is to connect. What is yoga? Yoga comes from yuj. Yuj means to reconnect oneself back to the Supreme. But people, they have reduced yoga simply to keep body and mind fit. So these are only the two parts of the Ashta Yoga system. Yama, Niyama, Asana and Pranayam. So people focus only on Asana and Pranayam and they think that, that is only the yoga. No, but the intention of the real yoga is, one has to, Prabhupada says, the word Yam is used, means unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The yoga has to be directed to attainment of lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and that is the most important part of the yoga. But people just get caught up in the form of the yoga and they miss out the substance of the yoga. Right. What is the substance of the yoga? Yoginam api sarvesham. So Prabhupada says one has to concentrate his mind on the form of the Supreme Lord, and then one can very easily attain the perfection of the yoga. So this perfection of the yoga was attained by Hiranyaksha, and this verse is very, very similar to the verse Tathaiva chanye naraloka veera ya ahave Krishna mukharavindam netrai pibanti nayanabhiramam parthastra padamapureta. While drinking the nectar of the personality of Godhead through their eyes and purified by the arrows of Arjuna, all these warriors on Kurukshetra, 64 crore to be precise, they went back home, back to Godhead, although their death was very, very ghastly. And the same death happened to Hiranyaksha here. And Lord Brahmaji is glorifying Hiranyaksha that he was extremely fortunate to attain such a death. Text 29, it has only translation. We'll just go through this. Etau tau parshadavasya shapad yatav asadgatim puna katipayai sthanam prapatyase janmabhi. Translation.
These two personal assistants of Supreme Lord, having been cursed, have been destined to take birth in demoniac families. After few such births, they will return to their own positions.
Yeah. So here, Brahmaji, he concluded that these two personal assistants of the Supreme Lord, Jay and Vijay, they are cursed to take two more births like this. So he was warning demigods. The two births are going to happen very soon. And after such births, they will return back home, back to Godhead, and they will take their original positions. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna. Prabhupada, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, how, as far as we are connected of Krishna consciousness, so how we believe that Shubha Shakun and Ashubha, how we amplify our own life, how we
Yeah,
connect.
right. So this Shakuna Shastra is there, but in Kali Yuga, what has happened is because of we are going away from the nature. Many of the Shakunas may not even happen also. So in Kali Yuga, what is stressed here, that will come later, and this is personally sanctioned by, this is approved by a personality who is none other than Guru of the demons, Shukracharya. So when, after Bali Maharaj is arrested and then he is rewarded the kingdom and whole thing comes to settlement, that pastime, Ushana Kavi means he's actually Shukracharya, the greatest of the authority on the Shastra. He's Guru of the demons. He begins to glorify the Supreme Lord and he says, my dear Lord, so many, when he's performing activity, there are so many things have to be considered. One has to consider the Muhurta, one has to consider the Karana, and then one has to consider the Shubha Divasa and everything.
Yeah.
But then he says a very powerful verse. He says that there are many chidras are there, many lacunas are there in performing any activity. But chanting the holy names of the Lord is so powerful. Sarvam karoti nischidram. Then he gives, a list of the chidras, list of the lacuna. The priest may be faulty, the mantra ucharan may be faulty, then there are the place may be faulty, the paraphernalia may be faulty, the muhurta may be faulty. But all these faults can be, recovered. All these faults can be taken care simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Sarvam karoti nischidram anasankirtanam tava. That he says that simply by chanting your holy names, all these lacunas, all these faults can be nullified. And therefore, chanting the holy name is extremely powerful and very, very important. And a devotee, whenever he starts any activity, so of course, as a devotee, we do follow Shastra. We do try to follow the Muhurta and, whatever best possible is. But we will always accompany all our endeavors by chanting the holy names. Chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and especially Panchatattva Pranam also. Jai Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So it is said that whatever is impossible becomes very, very easy and possible when one remembers Lord Gaurachandra. And whatever is possible, but if one forgets Lord Gaurachandra, the activity becomes, very difficult to perform. So we try to follow the Shastra to the T, But considering the limitations of Kali Yuga, and knowing the glories of the holy names, we always accompany all our endeavors by these two Mahamantras. One is Panchatattva Pranam, another is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right?
Dhanyavad, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.